All right. Video number 2. I don't know if I lost voice on that or not, but got a message. I have it on airplane, so it's not supposed. Nothing's supposed to be able to come through, but something came through. So let me go back to where I was. 2 Corinthians 12. This is where we know there are at least 2 raptures. Wayne over at We Are the Overcomers shows that there are 3. But at least here we know there are 2. It says, and I knew such a man, one I knew caught up to the 3rd heaven, so the bride goes to the 3rd heaven, and then he also knows another man who was caught up to paradise. Remember, the thief on the cross went to paradise. Jesus told him, today I tell you, be in paradise with me. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to get into this again, just for the bride, just to encourage you and to help you understand that we are not in the seals yet. And I'm not, again, salvation is based on Jesus and Jesus alone, by him covering your sins and by believing on him and trying to seek him out and draw closer, ever closer as we study. It has nothing to do with knowledge, has nothing to do with the full understanding. It has nothing to do with knowing the date. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's just Jesus. That's it. There is nothing else. If you get on and make the statement that if you don't understand what I'm saying and believe in what I'm saying, then you're not saved. You're not part of that group. That's just reckless to say something like that. If you don't believe the way I believe, and if you can't see what I see, then you're probably not saved. That's the most reckless thing I think I've ever heard anyone say, and it is extremely reckless to say that to somebody. The unsaved are not even watching. They're not on these videos. Every now and again, if there's enough watches and enough likes in the video, it'll wind up in their feed, and maybe they'll watch the video, early on. You try to grab somebody's attention at the very first part of the video, and maybe they'll subscribe, maybe they'll listen, maybe it'll be a seed planted in the back of their minds, and once they see this rapture, they'll be like, wait a minute, I heard that person on YouTube say something about this. Let me go research that a little bit more. And that's what we're supposed to do, is plant those seeds. Just because you don't believe exactly in a certain timeline or series of events or how things are laid out and how they happen literally has no bearing on your salvation whatsoever. Jesus is the only way, the only truth, and the only life. Jesus, that's it. All this other stuff, we're just trying to figure out some stuff here. So, all right, let me get back to where we were. All right. Round about the throne there were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. 24. That's it, right? 24. There's 24. Everybody will see this passage and they will run with it. There's 24, and that's it. 24. Who are these people? Well, they're the bride. How do we know that? Because they have crowns. Only the bride are given crowns of gold. Only the bride casts their crowns at the feet of God because they know they don't deserve it. They cast it back to the one true God who does deserve those crowns, the one who did it all, the one who did all the work, the one that did everything. We know we don't deserve anything, but he didn't do it for our glory. He did it for his own. You know, he saved it for us, for himself, for his glory. Okay, so that's who these are. This is the bride. There's 24 of them. 24. And here we have the 4 beasts and the 24 elders. So 24 elders again, and 4 beasts fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. Now, the bride apparently has the prayers of all of the saints. Remember, we can all be called saints. The 144, the dead in Christ, all can be called saints. The saints cannot be called the bride. The saints cannot be called the 144,000. We are called out of that group and set apart. And they sung a new song saying, "Thou art worthy to take the book." Now, wait a second. So the 24 elders are there in heaven. they have the prayers of the saints. And they sang a new song. This is something new that's happening. Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hath redeemed us to God by the blood out of every kindred. Now, he's going to open the book right now, and they're describing who they are. They are out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. Every kindred, every tongue, and people and nation, and has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on earth. Remember, you get a rod of iron. The bride gets a rod of iron, and we will reign with Jesus here on earth, ruling over those 1,000 years. This is where he takes the seals. He takes the book to open the seals right here in front of the 24 elders, the bride, who have crowns, who cast them at the feet. There are 195 countries in the world. This total comprises 193 countries that are member states of the United Nations. 193. 24 elders redeemed us out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. 24 cannot mathematically represent 193 nations and tongue. There are currently 6,500 languages in the world. 6,500. Out of every tongue, kindred and tongue and people and nation. These 24 are simply heads of each group. There are over 100 million people that are raptured as the bride. These are simply the leaders of each group. For example, oh my goodness. If God were to say, lost my train of thought again. If God were to say, I want every person to line up whose last name begins with B or C or A or S or whatever letter begins with your last name. Are you any less or any greater than anyone else that you got into that line with? The guy who says, I'm an S, everybody who has an S in their last name, line up behind me. They are all a part of that 24. The same thing as this. I don't want to use stellarium as an example because people get weirded out about using the astrology versus astronomy, and Satan took something that God created and turned it evil. And the fact is, astronomy is what we look at when we look up. We don't look at astrology. So when you line up behind one of these 24. Okay, and in that line, anybody who has, let's say you line up, you're a Virgo or a Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, line up here. In that line, you will have every tongue, every kindred, every people, and every nation. There are people who are born Sagittarius all around the world. It doesn't matter what language they speak, who they are, what nation they're from. They all speak. They're all born a Sagittarius, so they'll line up in that line. Just as an example, I'm not saying that's what it is, and that's how I explain who these 24 elders are. 195 countries, 6,500. So to state that there's only, and how many different races are there? One. We are one human race. That's it. Genetically, we are all the same. Whether you dislike somebody for one reason or another, you've lost your mind, because we're all one of the human race. We're all the same. We all come from Adam and Eve, subsequently came from Noah's Ark. We are all of the same race, every single one of us. There is no difference. And in God's eyes, he sees no difference. What he sees is the fact that he created us. He's given us a bunch of glorious varieties of color and eye color and skin tone, and all just so many, hair, just everything, height, everything. He's given us a wonderful variety, and so we should embrace that and not argue against that. Revelation 5, and I beheld and heard a voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beast and the elders, and the number of them, how many are there? This is Revelation 5. This is before the seals are opened. I beheld and I heard the voice of many angels. That's it. I heard the voice of many angels around the throne. That's it. And what happens after that? And the beast and the elders and the number of them. He's not talking about the number of the angels. He's the voice of the angels. He heard the voices of angels. He's not hearing the voices of the beasts and elders. He's hearing the voices of angels. And the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands. It's more than 100 million, less than 200 million. This is the number of the 24 elders. We all fall under these 24 categories. I don't know what the categories are yet. I guess we'll find out when we get there. Line up. Everybody whose last name starts with a B, line up right here. And I can imagine that, it would be a lot of people of different languages and stuff. But guess what? One race. All right. Let's get that out of the way. This happens again. This number happens before he opens the first seal. Thou art worthy to take the book and open the seals. Oh, this is something. Okay, the flood was in 1656 from creation, but Enoch left in the year 987, so that was 669 years before the flood. If Enoch is the bride and Noah was a saint, how can we relate 669 years to our rapture before the saints are taken in seal 6? I know Enoch left on Sivan 6, which is the 66th day of the year, and the flood began on October the 31st, Heshvan 17th, the 229th day, leaving 5 months and 10 days in between. Suppose we are filthy. Let's see. Suppose we're. So I wanted to show you also that when it came to Lot, that there's this repeating occurrence that happens when destruction begins. When it was Abraham and Lot, Abraham was talking to God saying, well, if there's 50 righteous down in Sodom and Gomorrah, will you spare it because of the elect? And ultimately, as you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After 6 days, I think this conversation went on 6 days long, and each day he asked for a different group of people. And ultimately what happened was 2 angels went down into Sodom and removed Lot, his wife, his 2 daughters, and the 2 husbands of the 2 daughters would not leave. They just would not leave. They wanted to be there, and they left. And remember, Lot's wife turned around to look when she was told not to. She did get out, but she turned into a saint. She stayed behind. So suppose 10, and so I think that there was this 7-day warning. Now 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was, remember, those are 6 days, and here in the evening they were sitting at the gate. He was sitting at the gate, and that night they had to usher them out because the men of the town were trying to get at the 2 angels so that they could know them. Pretty perverted time. Parable of the fig tree. Oh, this is what Isaiah 53 has been showing, and he's right. He's right. We've looked at the parable of the fig tree, but we didn't notice the phrase all the trees. All the trees. We didn't know what that meant. And I think Isaiah 53 has figured that out here as late. God's opening our eyes. Look at the fig tree and all the trees when they are already budding. You see and know for yourselves that summer is now near. Okay? Down here at the bottom, the importance of watching. But take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness. It said, don't get, oh, this is never going to happen, which I don't think any true watcher. Watch therefore and pray always that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. So I think that, am I done? Oh, this happened. Does this happen today? Just keeps happening. Okay. So, we're still looking at the 11th. Oh, I can't. I have to show you. I have to go. Let me see here. Okay. Isaiah 53. He puts a questionnaire up here on YouTube. I think it's YouTube or Facebook. I think it's YouTube. If the 1949 Psalms 90 pre-tribulation deadline passes, I'm going to. He says, stay pre-trib and accept Israel can hit 81. We didn't know how to answer that. But Isaiah 53, give them a shout out. I can't even pronounce this guy's web page. I've heard somebody translated that for me, but I'm not sure what it was. But he does a really good job. I'd like to, again, I show you these YouTubes so that we can subscribe to them, like their videos, and when that happens, this might wind up in the feed of somebody who otherwise would not watch these types of videos. Eyes open, time's up. He does a good job as well. We saw this person come out of nowhere. 11,100 subscribers. He just came out of nowhere, made 3 little videos, and just shot up like crazy. His message is that powerful. You should be subscribed to Messiah 2030. He makes a really good argument that 2030 is when the tribulation ends, and 7 years earlier is 2023 when we go. So everybody's like, what? Jumping on this channel here. Word of the Watchman. This is Ken Potter. Consider him a friend, and he's been interviewing. I don't have it on here, but he's been interviewing Waltner lately and going over a bunch of stuff that she has. Now, Cataclysm Tony Early. No, I'm just kidding. Subscribe to his channel. We talk quite a bit, and he says, if I can get over 11,000 subscribers, I think Jesus is coming back. So let's get him over. He's right at 11,000 now. We'll get him up to 12 or 13. That will definitely make Jesus come back sooner. I'm kidding, of course. That has nothing to do with it, but it's still good. This is Bob Barber. He had a really good video here. I really liked his Sign of the Son of Man. His last video. It's only 21 minutes long, but he did a really good job of showing the sign of the Son of Man. Remember, this is the last sign that the Bible speaks of. I'm looking up. She has a Facebook page as well. She does really good stuff. Her Facebook brings all of the different watchmen together. And please subscribe to her channel and go on her Facebook and follow her on Facebook as well. She does a really good job. And here's Isaiah 53. I mean, he does such a good job. He's got 53 videos, not too many, but subscribe to him because he does. I really love his videos. What he does with his channel, it's awesome. Oh yeah, this. I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I went to find that. Okay, so this person here, I think was on YouTube or TikTok. It says YouTube up there, so I'm not sure. But she posts a video, and I watch it, and I'm floored by it. And I don't know if you can go find this. I tried to share it, but I couldn't. This is a 2,500-year-old Bible prophecy that just happened. Look behind her. That is a river in Saudi Arabia. Where did the water come from? It spewed from the ground. A geyser came up out of nowhere and just spewed. This has happened a couple days ago in Saudi Arabia and made a whole river. Made a whole river. And then I find the verse. I think she even mentions it up here. Does she mention it? No. Well, I find the verse. She might have mentioned it in the video. I will open rivers in desolate heights and fountains in the midst of the valleys, and I will make the wilderness a pool of water and dry land springs of water. Go find this. Somehow go find this and watch this, and you'll be blown. They've got videos literally of just water just gushing out of the earth, out of nowhere, and just rivers being created out in the middle of the desert. This is like one of the prophecies that we had to see before the end, and it's here. It's here. So I don't think you need me to tell you that are watching that this is about to happen. We're all getting very excited, and things are happening all around us, and we can hardly keep up anymore. So again, like in my last video, we're looking at May 11th, May 14th, May 18th, and May 21st. I have not gotten that confirmation yet, like in Amos 3:7 says, but I do believe it's going to come, and we're all going to know very clearly what it is. Everyone else will hear something, they'll be like, I don't even know what that was, but we're going to be like, I know exactly what that was, or they're going to walk outside. Last night on the news, I don't know what happened, but a bunch of graves got thrown open. We're not sure why, but they're just open everywhere. There's dirt, literally. It was so many graves that threw open that there was an earthquake over it. The whole planet kind of shook. We don't know why. We think it's probably something to do with methane under the water. Oh, look, over in Saudi Arabia, some water just broke out. There must be a lot of pressure under the earth, and that's what caused some of these graves to get thrown open. And that's what they'll throw at them. They won't tell them the truth. Even though they'll know it, they won't tell them the truth. We know the truth. The dead in Christ just rose, and then we will rise momentarily. How long exactly? I don't know. I think Isaiah 53, was it him? I watched so many videos, I really don't know. But somebody surmised that it was even 3 days after that. So, I mean, pretty much every single date on here, 11, 14, 18, and 21, are about 3 days apart. So it's heating up. I really thought it was going to happen back, at the cross, but he's the first fruits. Thought it was going to happen on second Passover on April 29th, but here we are. So I think, again, like I showed you in Luke, there is no shortage of time. We're going to go all the way out to the wire, to the very possible end, and then God will visit, shortening the tribulation for the very sake of the elect. And he's discussing this in Mark and in Matthew, which means he's talking to the saints and he's talking to the Jew. Anyway, Repo Man 64, let me get off of here. I will chat with you again later, and if Amos 3:7 is revealed to me at any point, I'll break a leg running in here, try to get this to you as fast as I can. If you have anything, I'll put a link to the Discord. If you have anything at all, come in there and point it out to me. You can go in there also. I'll repost in my room the timeline. You can go in there and take a look at it for yourself. I don't have May 11th on here. I just learned this from Isaiah 53, that's when all the trees met. That's when Israel joined the UN. And that's exactly in 2 days, kind of 1 day if you count that Israel. Where is the United Nations? I feel bad right now because I don't know. I don't know where the United Nations is. I'm going to have to Google that and see what time zone that is from here. Is it in New York? I don't know where it's at. Yeah, I don't know. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody. Accept the Lord into your heart. It's a private moment. You'll find this in John 6:5 and 6, and after that, go tell the world what Jesus just did for you, your Creator. And like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like the video. It might wind up in somebody's feed. If this rapture does occur here in 2 days, 3 days, 6 days, 9 days, 12 days, if it occurs and we're not here, the best thing you can do is to make certain that these videos, not just mine, all of them, that's why you'll see I like every video that I watch and attempt to comment on every video. I subscribe to them, and I find a lot of new ones. So do that in the hopes that that video that I watched was so good that, like Isaiah 53's videos, they make it through and they get out there into the world after we're gone, and they can watch them. All right, we'll chat with you again later.